Hey y'all, it's Nancy the Handy Scandy. Welcome back for another crafty venture. Today, as you can see, we are going to be playing with our gel plate prints. I'm going to talk about 5 different ways to use them, incorporating background stamps. So these are the cards that I've made. I'm not going to go through the card making process. I'm going to go through the background making process, as well as kind of my thought process on why I chose which pulls. But I've been asked several times, like, how do you incorporate your gel plate prints into your art? And so this is one way, by making backgrounds with them. So this is kind of where I started. Like, I went through my stash and I pulled out a bunch of stamps, a bunch of prints, a bunch of dies that I really just wanted to use for Christmas. And this is kind of where I'm at. I know that I want to use the circle. I wasn't sure if I wanted the colorful one or the softer one, which I end up going with the softer one. But I knew that I wanted to use that Colorado Craft stamp, that Scandy Ornament stamp. And in the end, this is what I chose. This ornament stamp is absolutely stunning. And to be honest, I can't remember if I got it last year or if I purchased it earlier this year. But in any case, I wanted to use it. Now, on this very soft, very subtle circular print, I was not sure how I wanted to go. Did I want to go tone on tone? And if so, which kind of tone? Pull out those kind of dirty tones or pull out that soft blue? Or did I want there to be a nice contrast? So in order to figure that out, I stamped it off with 3 different choices. And I had my crafty friend and neighbor over, and she just kind of helped me figure it out. In fact, you might see her input several times throughout this video. She was very prominent in this card making process. So one thing to remember, or I guess another thing to remember, that these prints are almost all created. In fact, this particular session, they might all have been created with acrylic paint. And acrylic paint takes ink very differently than just regular cardstock. It takes heat very different than regular cardstock. And you just really need to know your product. And the only way to know it is to play with it. So I would encourage you, if you're going to play with a print that's not incredibly important to you. Play with one that you don't mind if it gets messed up. You know how we always say it's just paper? Well, it's not just paper if you've created a beautiful print and you're hoping to create something else beautiful out of it. So just practice on some things that don't matter. For instance, this one is just, it was a roll-off page. So it's not even a print, it's a roll-off page. So if you have roll-off pages, sometimes they come out beautifully, sometimes not so much. So that would be a good one to practice with, to see how the acrylic paint is going to take your ink. Is it going to take regular ink different than Versamark? Is it going to take Versafine different than, you know, say a pigment ink? So just play with them and see what your process is, see how your different mediums take on the heat, take on the ink, that type of thing. So like I said, on this particular one, it was a roll-off page, and I knew that I wanted that deep, deep blue. And so this particular stamp is a background stamp from CZ Designs. It was released last year. And I just wanted to kind of juxtapose that kind of denim-y look of the well, it's not a print, the roll-off page, with kind of that more elegant, shiny, ornate look. I don't know how else to say it, but anyway, so that's why I cut it down, and you saw me use it the way that I did. Now for this next one, I'm going to use that blue and orange, but I did not like either of those 2 stamps that I had chosen on that particular print. So here I am going through my stash, and you can see most of these that you still see on the screen were alcohol ink. So they would take all the mediums a little bit differently. Now this one, I love the stencil that I used to create these prints, the purple ones, but the overall prints did not turn out well. In fact, the prints were some of my least favorite that you've seen today. But once that white embossing powder hit that deep purple background, it's absolutely stunning, and I knew that I had made the right choice, and I can't wait for you to see that card again. So this one, you saw kind of me put my hand on it during that process when I was flipping through other prints, and I knew that I wanted this subtle kind of mottled background for this Hero Arts background stamp. Now I love this stamp. To me it has a very Van Gogh kind of feel, and I absolutely love it. It just has that Starry Nights feel, doesn't it? So in the beginning on the big Scandi stamp, I use this same embossing powder. It's called Bridal. It's from PSX. I've literally had that in my stash since I've been stamping. That was the first embossing powder that I ever purchased, and I am like tragically near the end. I love that embossing powder. So this is kind of where I'm at, these 4 different prints. And then I thought, well, what is going to round out this? So I have nature one, I have kind of a foliage, and I had the kind of elegant one. And then I thought, well, I think that a nice plaid will kind of round out that holiday decor, if you will. So this one from Simon Hurley won the lottery, if you will, because we had several out and did a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, choose a number, and Simon Hurley won. So this particular embossing powder is very, very opaque. No, yes, it's translucent. So you can see through it. It's not as dark, it's not as heavy as some of the others, but I love it. It pulls out that bit of orange that's in the background, and it does exactly what we wanted it to do. So this is where we're at. This is the Starry Night one, and this is the plaid, of course, and this is the elegant one on kind of the denim-y looking paint, if you will. This is the Scandi one, and then of course this is the florally one. So 5 different prints and stamped backgrounds to choose from, and these are the cards that I ended up making. So you can see how those background stamps really worked to create some very pretty cards. And you can see if you look real close around the edges, the paint or the ink did not adhere as well to the paint in some spots as it did to others. Now if I had not heat embossed these, all of that ink would have just come sliding right off that paint. It would not have dried or cured. So this one I absolutely love. It's so subtle, it's so elegant, that nature look with the Van Gogh Starry Nights kind of background. And this one, of course, is more on the humorous side with that Stampin' Bella elf and the Merry Elfin Christmas, I believe, is from MFT. So lots of different products represented in all of these cards, guys, but I'm just loving them. There I was showing that there was a little bloop of ink, but you don't really see it. You may not have seen it if I hadn't pointed it out. These little penny black polar bears, I think, are some of my favorite in my entire stash. And this, you see there where I'm pointing? Yeah, that's how I have a crooked eye. And I just trimmed down that background layering piece. I trimmed it wrong, that's all. But again, I wonder if anybody would have noticed that if I hadn't pointed it out. Now these are that blue and orange background that I trimmed all the orange off, and I used a CZ Design stamp just to kind of make some elegant stripes in the sky, if you will. And I think these turned out very, very sweet. Do you see how I keep saying that it has a denim-y look? Do you see that? Do you feel that? And I love that I was able to get 2 cards out of that print. So here we are, all 6 cards made out of 5 background pulls, or 5 gel plate pulls made into backgrounds using a bunch of background stamps that have just been sitting in my stash, not been getting any love. So it's a perfect way to pull out those stash, use what you already have, and take those beautiful prints and pulls that you have in your stash and marry them together and use them in your art. Think of them more like, I don't know, like pattern paper, I suppose, and you can do whatever you want with them. Don't allow the fact that it's a print or a pull to stifle your creativity. Use it in lots of different ways. In fact, I will be coming back at you with more ways on how to use them. This is just the first in what I'm going to call maybe a mini series. But let me know how you might want to see them used, because I have many, many more background pulls that I need to go through. So give me some feedback. What do you think about these? How would you like to see pulls used in the future? And we'll go from there. So guys, thank you so much for joining me in this process. You know, I would love it if you like this video. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you're not already a member of my crafty tribe, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. And if you are already a member, you know I love you. Thank you for spending some more time with me today. And until next time, guys, this is Nancy, the Handy Scandy. Mwah! I'm out.